Good morning, Clarissa. How are you today?
Morning.
How's it going?
Everything as well.
Okay, awesome. Well, I just wanted to talk about our last collaborative planning session.
Mm-hmm.
When we were looking at the data, you noted that, well, we noted that our students did poorly on four particular standards, and you noted that they were coming behind in vocabulary, and you felt that making success on that particular standard would be impossible. Can you tell me more about that?
Well, they're just so far behind. I mean, when you're, several grade levels behind, there's just no way I can make up for that in a year. And then the research even shows, I mean, that neighborhood work we work in. I mean, the research shows that these poor students, they'll never make up the gap. They'll never make it up.
Okay, can you explain that just a little bit more? What do you mean by the gap? And just say that one more time.
Well, if you look at the research,
Okay.
research shows that if you're below grade level by third grade,
Uh-huh.
pretty much you're going to remain below grade level for the rest of your school, and you're most likely not to graduate from high school. They even build prisons based on that third grade basic data.
Well, how lucky your students are to have you, because I know that that's one of your stronger areas with teaching vocabulary. So we know that the research shows that students who come from poorer, more poverty-stricken areas, that they're behind in building their vocabulary. Then as teachers, if they come to us every day, what do you think we can do to close that gap?
Well, I do vocabulary strategies. We make cute little charts, and I give them chances to act out their words, and I have a vocabulary word wall.
So tell me about those strategies. Which ones do you think are most effective? And remember, we're talking about students who aren't exposed to a lot of vocabulary. They're already, at third grade, if they haven't been reading books or whatever, they're already behind. What can we do that's going to catch them up? So not just the cute little vocabulary activities. Which ones do you think will be most effective in teaching our students words to kind of close that gap? What do you think would work? Or what do you think has worked best?
Well, in the past, I have used like vocabulary notebooks, so it's not just on the word wall. I'm not just using it in class, but they actually can keep it on track of it on their own, and they do activities based on those words in their notebook.
So let me ask you this then. What do you do to hold them accountable for the vocabulary we're teaching?
They just use it in class. They have to use it in their writing.
Okay. So I think this is what we're going to do, because as you know, our vision states that, we want 80% of our students to be proficient on the reading assessment. And as you thoughtfully noted, well, research shows if they're already, and if they're already behind, that we need to do something to kind of push them forward. So we're going to start holding them accountable for the vocabulary that they're learning in your class. And because you're such a strong teacher, especially in this area, we're going to make sure that we're the ones that's going to close that gap in vocabulary instruction. And we're going to make sure that we take steps to help them achieve, it's kind of hard, achieve the goals that they need to achieve. So let's be specific. What's one way, aside from using that composition book, was one way we're going to measure that they're learning these words and we're holding them accountable?
Weekly tests.
So how do you think that's going to help them with learning the words? Do you think that's going to help them memorize it that week? What about long term?
Well, I think it's going to help that it helps them to be accountable to learning it. It also helps me to see if they're getting it. I don't think I had anything in place to really measure how much they're using and understanding their vocabulary. So that would help me as well.
Okay.
So.
So that's good for at the end of the week, but what about in 2 weeks? Are you just going to assess them on a new set of words? What are you going to do to review previously taught words?
Well, I'll continue to keep them posted. They'll use their notebooks. They have to continue to use it in their writing. In discussions, I could start rewarding students that are using it in class discussion.
Oh, that's excellent. I'm going to write that down. Okay, so you're going to reward students for use. We are going to continue to incorporate quizzes, but maybe each week you continue to add a few previously taught words. Okay, what else?
Could We could use some graphic organizers. We could do some predicting. You predict what a word is, like when they get a new word.
Okay,
And then
so
they
we're teaching
make
strategies like
inferences.
context clues, and that will,
Right.
right, it ties back. And so in order for this to happen, they have to be exposed to text with rich vocabulary. So we
Exactly.
want to make sure that, of course, we want them practice reading on grade level, but that we're exposing them to, higher vocabulary. So that gives them the opportunity to practice using those context clues, making inferences. You said you're going to reward students who are using the words regularly in class, and that you'll provide the weekly quizzes on vocabulary. But in following weeks, we'll incorporate words that students should know already, so that they're not just studying to pass that one quiz,
Right.
but that they're constantly using words.
Exactly.
All right, awesome. Just as a sort of a closure, just remember that we do believe that all students can learn. And it's unfortunate that some students do come to us behind, but it's our goal as teachers. We're equipped already, and we have each other. We want to make sure we close that gap. We want to remove any disparities
Exactly.
between what our students know and what they should know. So let's always keep that in mind.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Corsa.